It's great to be here. I didn't tell Jeff that I was, finishing in Birmingham. I guess, he just assumes that at my elderly age that, this is the last leg of the journey of the journey. I hope that it is. It truly is great to be here. I have really enjoyed my time in Birmingham. I'm going on 7 years, and we get to recruit a lot of folks here to Birmingham, and I can truly say, I'm one of the bigger fans. We lived in a lot of places, and this is probably one of my favorite places that we live because of the people, all the things there are to do, as well as how people take care of each other. So I'm excited to be here and hopefully meet several of you. Lots of times people find out that I am the CEO of Jack's, and they ask me, lots of people don't realize that, we're just not the local brand down on the corner. And many people don't even realize that Jack's is, an Alabama, a Birmingham-based restaurant concept. So what I thought I would do today is maybe talk about Jack's from the past, sort of where we are now and what the future looks like for Jack's. So let's see if I can figure this out here. So we are located here in Birmingham. We have about 7,000 employees. And, we are a brand that's a little different than other brands. We have a very unique menu. Lots of our people complain about this fairly often because, we have chicken that is, never frozen. It's fresh. We hand bread it in the restaurants. We hand make biscuits every day. We make gravy every day. We hand scoop shakes. And I was a little disappointed. Somebody told me, and I think it was John, that we were having biscuits and gravy from Jack's, but I don't know, John, what happened? I thought that was you were kidding. But truly, we make these things, we make them with love. And because of that, we have a really loyal customer base. Not many folks know, but when you look at our Net Promoter Score, which is, one of these, marketing things that Billy Joe and the team look at, and, we're number 2 in Alabama, just second only to Chick-fil-A. And if you ask people about Jack's as a whole from a restaurant brand, we're number 2 just to McDonald's. So it's a great brand and a little diamond in the rough. We have great unit economics. We do about, over $2 million per restaurant. And, we have really profitable restaurants. We used to have a really nice EBITDA margin. Now I'll tell you that the supply chain problems of the last, couple of months have made it a little more challenging, but it's still really a great business. We have restaurants in 4 states, and there's still an enormous amount of white space where, we can continue to build restaurants. Lots of people have asked me, hey, I've noticed you guys are growing a lot, and every mayor in every small town in Alabama has Jack's on the speed dial of, places they would like to have to come to their towns. And I think if you drive the freeways around Alabama or the highways or the city roads, you'll see Jack's restaurants, in these communities where we can go and serve in these communities. But we also own a distribution company. Not a lot of folks know that, but we distribute food and groceries to our own restaurants. And we also distribute food to the Wendy's restaurants that are in our same footprint. So it's called Southeastern Food Merchandiser, as in basically it's you have a big warehouse and trucks, and you may see them on the freeways from time to time. But we're engaged and involved in the communities where we do business. One of the things that is something that's near and dear to all of our hearts is community service. And in fact, at Jack's, unless you go and serve in the community at least one day a year, you're not allowed to get your bonus, right? And some folks, they sort of thought that was a bit harsh. But, we like to say we have this brand that is really dependent on the communities where we do business, and we want to make sure we give back. So hopefully you see our folks out, doing community service. We had lots of folks that volunteered at the World Games and had a really amazing time. But we really focus on staying true to our values and our vision. And we have this thing we call the Jax family. And the Jax family to us is not only, our employees, but it's also all of our guests. And, we work hard to make people feel included in the Jax family. And when folks come in, it makes them part of the Jax family. And in fact, we started what we call the Jax Family Fund that I'm going to talk about at the end here, so we can support, members of the Jax family. Our vision and our values are important, as I said. So our vision is to become the most loved QSR brand in the South because of our food, our service, and our people. And, we take our values fairly seriously. We work hard to have people that you want to be around, right? We have one of our values is that we're going to have fun. And it was a lot easier probably to have fun before COVID, but we still try to have a lot of fun in the restaurants and build some of those same things back that we used to do prior to the Great Resignation. We also, work hard to develop people from within. We have a lot of folks at Jax that start in the restaurants and they work their way up and become, important people in our company and important people in the community. And we feel it's our responsibility to help them grow and help them develop both personally and professionally. So we spend a lot of time talking about our values. It's one of the first things we talk to all our new employees about, and something that we're very proud of. And, the main one is, smiling faces and friendly service. So many of you know the LaRussa family. I mean, somebody's already given me a Jax history lesson since I've been here, and I appreciate that. But, our first restaurant was in Homewood. And it's, who was giving me the lesson earlier today? Where are you? Oh, come on. No, he doesn't want to say. Anyway, it's sort of where our restaurant is now. It's where the jail was in Homewood. And, the brand was started back in, 1960. And that was the first location. And it had a couple of owners. Jack Cadell started the brand. And then the LaRussa, Benny LaRussa Sr., who many of you probably know. I think Benny LaRussa Jr. Is a member, is he not, of the Kiwanis? I think that he is. And so, it was part of the LaRussa family for many years. And they built the brand and they built this great company. And, smiling faces and friendly service was one of the sort of the things that Mr. LaRussa said all the time, right? That was his, whenever you talk to him, was smiling faces and friendly service. And so Mr. LaRussa decided that he was going to sell the business back in 2015. And there was lots of people that desired to own such a great brand here in the Southeast. So he sold it to a private equity company. And that's how I ended up, coming to Birmingham. But one of the great things is they have these great people, great food, and, a brand that people were excited about and passionate about. But they really hadn't set the brand up to grow as fast as maybe many brands want to grow. So it all started with we call him Mr. L, and it started with him and sort of this, hey, we're going to take care of people, and we're going to go into these communities that appreciate and need a restaurant. And lots of times, others probably aren't willing to go to some of those towns, but. So we, started sort of from with 130-ish units when we bought the brand back from the LaRussas back in 2015. And, we've grown it since then. So what I want to sort of talk about for the next few minutes, and I'll try to, see Billy Joe, as you saw, she's here. She's our chief marketing officer. She thinks that sometimes I talk too much. I don't know if I agree with that or not. But I'll try to, end us at a decent time so we don't, you're not kicking us out and John gets in trouble somehow. But so if you go back and think about Jax, it has grown a lot. And, first and foremost, when you look at the real estate, back in 2015, this is sort of a map. Hopefully you can see the little dots of where we had restaurants. And, the strategy's always been that we don't try to go places that, maybe they don't understand Southern food or they don't understand Southern hospitality. So we just sort of go to the next town out. And so, this was back in 2015. Currently, there's the dots. We're in 4 states. We're in Alabama, Tennessee, Mississippi, and Georgia. And, we just sort of look and we go for the next town, outside our circle, and that makes sense. And, we have 200 and we'll end this year with about 231 locations. And if you look at really the next 4 or 5 years, we'll have about 333 locations. So the brand's really growing. People have embraced the brand, are excited for us to go, into our towns, even when maybe they're not familiar with it. So if you look at sort of the openings by year, you can go back and, the family would open 4 or 5 restaurants a year. And we tried to get to a point where we could have people and go to a few or open a few more locations, go to a few more towns. So, this year we'll open 20 or 21 locations, and that's sort of how we'll grow, over the next several years. About 10% growth over the next several years is what you'll see Jack's do. And hopefully as you travel around Alabama or you even visit some of our neighbors in the Southeast, you'll see Jack's, fairly well represented, and you can feel proud, that Jack's, started here and it's really part of this community first and foremost. So you can sort of see in 2015 where the restaurants were, right? Mainly in Alabama. We had put on my glasses. We had 12 restaurants outside of Alabama. Currently, we have, over 40 restaurants outside of Alabama. And you can see that, as we grow and go to the next town out, it becomes, these other 3 states become a bigger and bigger part of Jack's business. One of the things that lots of people ask me, like, hey, I really like the new store design. One of the things that we found when we bought Jack's was that people loved the food. They loved the Southern hospitality, the quality, the Southernness, of the brand. But we looked at our building and it really didn't say a lot about what the brand was. I used to joke and say that, hey, if you took the logos off the building, I mean, who knows? It could have been a Long John Silver's, could have been, lots of other brands. And so we worked hard to come up with a design that made sense for our guests, right? A place that you could go visit, a place of community, a gathering place, a place where you could get quality food, a place where communities could be proud of. And so, it's sort of the present design. And, we have a patio, and, this time of year, not many people use the patio, but, certainly we try to have these big round tables that many of you have used, where it can be a meeting spot for, people after a football game, or for folks to, come and have breakfast and meet as a group of friends or family members. And in the future, you'll see the same kind of design, but we're also adding elements, for lots of digital things to happen. So people can come and, you can order ahead, have people bring the food out to you. You can order online and use all the technology that lots of people are used to using right now. So, it'll continue to evolve, but really, first and foremost, we're trying to stick to, our Southern roots and really where the brand was born and why the brand is successful. And part of that is taking some of these old restaurants and trying to make the restaurants look a little more presentable. One of the things that was amazing to me as I first came to Jack's and visited all the restaurants is, some of them were really old, and hey, we kept them clean and it was wonderful, but, probably not a great representation of the brand. And so we've worked really hard to try to remodel some of these restaurants. I mean, I think most of you probably been to the Homewood restaurant or the new Crestwood restaurant. How many people have been to the Crestwood restaurant? I mean, so a few of you. So we've relocated sort of a quarter mile down the road and opened a restaurant that looks and feels a lot better. So every year, we're building new restaurants, we're remodeling some of the old restaurants or moving them. And, hopefully, by the end of 2026, there'll be very few restaurants that are the old design, and everything will, look and feel, more Southern and more brand, make sense for the brand. Our logo. So, lots of people, they go back and I see people wear these logos from the past, and it's sort of cool to see the logo evolution. But you can see what the logo looked like, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, what the logo looks like now. And hey, what we want it to represent the past, but also, have a strong logo that people look at and make sense for a brand that's growing. And so, we have our red Jack's logo that you'll see in most of the materials now. But, we get lots of requests for, all the cool retro shirts and things from the past. And, I'm sure we'll use some of that in the future as well. Packaging, we've evolved the packaging, from, a bunch of dots to something that, calls out the quality, calls out the, where we're from, calls out being Southern, and made it a little more simple. So, we've tried to evolve that as well, and also make it so it holds the food a little bit better, and we can have hot food and cold food when it's supposed to be hot or cold. One of the things that our team members get excited about are uniforms. Nobody, wants to look like the picture on the left of what the past looks like. Although I wonder how cool that would be, And so, we've tried to provide uniforms that our guests appreciate, that say something about the brand, but our team members like as well. And, we even try to come up with some sayings. You'll see some of these. Let's see, the food pyramid of the South. I can't remember what's on the food pyramid. I'm sure biscuits and gravy is one of those things. We speak fluent, y'all. Got your back, Big Jack. So just, some of the things that are fun for team members, and, fun for some of our guests as well. But, certainly an evolution there. Menu boards, hey, I'm not going to bore you with this, but there's a time where our food looked very plastic, right? Our food looked perfect, right? And I'm sure all of you have at times looked at food on a commercial and said, oh, I'm going to go get that. But then you get it and it probably doesn't really look like the food that you might see on the commercial. So, we're trying to work really hard to have our food be very authentic. And, when you get there, hey, if there's stuff dripping off of it, that's okay. Things are handmade, and, it's one of the things we pride ourselves in. So we want to give off that same image, in our food photography, in our menu boards and our commercials and everything else. But you'll see that evolve as well. Some more things you can see, sort of the food from 2015, very perfect, very plastic. And then some of the food that you're seeing now, which, is a little more authentic. One of the things that was fun for me when I got here was to look at all the advertising. So I have people sing to me all the time on airplanes, in Ubers. They will sing the Jack's song to me, back to Jack, Jacks for more. And it's super cool, right? And I like it. And, we use it from time to time. But as I looked, so we got here and we looked at all the advertising, and it was funny and it was kitschy and it was cool. I don't know if any of you remember, I was going to play this, but Billy Joe said that I couldn't. And so, so this is one of our old commercials. It's a guy that's got a wrapped Big Jack and he's using it to catch fish. Do any of you remember that commercial? Okay, a couple people. So I thought it was sort of funny, right? But I'm not sure it sends the right message that, our food should be fish bait. But so we've worked really hard, to try to say, hey, our commercials are going to be about the things that are important to the brand, which is, food quality, which is being Southern, which is hospitality, and community. And, we've worked hard to make the commercials about that. And we are, recently we became a client of Big Communications, and no pressure, guys, but, we expect a lot of really great things, as we evolve the brand and, focus on these things, all the great things about Jack's that that are really different from our national competitors. And, so hopefully you see that in the advertising. If you have complaints, I think we're gonna put up John's email address up here at the end, but I don't think you will. I really think that, as we focus on the great things about the brand, it'll come out in our advertising. Digital marketing, we continue to evolve that. You can, something that I think all of us have used, digital marketing in the last 2 years, whether it was to, order a delivery, whether it's to get food online and pick it up at the restaurant. I think the last 2 years have made all of the restaurant people in the world realize that, hey, this is a big part of our business and we need to make sure we embrace it and make it really easy for our customers and take out all the friction. So you'll certainly see that as well. The last thing I want to talk about is something that's near and dear to my heart, and it's called the Jack's Family Fund. One of the things when I got here that was really special to me is how people referred to the employees as Jack's family, right? And it truly was a family, and people care about each other, and they cared about what was happening in their lives, and whether it was a customer. I mean, lots of our guests, they, whether they're the morning crew, we call them, Romeos, lots of people on those big round tables. It's a, retired old men eating out. And generally we have those folks, in every restaurant every morning. But things happen in their lives. And so we started the Jack's Family Fund, really to take care of our people. And we did it in 2017. And really the goal is to provide, something for people that are in crisis in their family or in their community, provide some short-term support, whether it's an illness, whether it's a death, whether it's, a tornado, whatever it might be. And our employees, about 40% of our employees, they give money out of their checks every single month, every single week to support the Jack's Family Fund. And, we try to take care of our guests. We try to take care of our employees. So we've raised about $1.6 million. We've made over 1,700 grants, and we about every year we raise about $500,000. And we also support the Kids to Love Foundation, which helps foster children find forever families. So it's a charity that we support and we have supported for a while, because these are kids that can be in crisis. And so we really work hard to take care of the Jack's family and to provide service for those people who are in need. And one example of how this happens is we had a young man that was a regular. His family were regular customers, and one day he was at Jack's, and our manager overheard them having a discussion about travel that he had to do to get his medical care. And so she just walked over and said, "Hey, you're here all the time. You know about the Jack's Family Fund?" And of course, for whatever reason, we have trouble getting this out, and he hadn't. And so he applied, and we've taken care of a lot of his travel for the last couple of years as he got medical care, and he's doing great. But there's lots of little stories like this, where we try to be different. We try to say, hey, let's give back to the community and all the people that helped to make Jack successful. So again, I appreciate the time. I appreciate the opportunity to be part of the community, where all of you folks live and all of you folks do business. And, hopefully we can continue to, work together and, grow the business and provide some service in the community. Thank you.